Hey there, welcome to the Valiant Entrepreneurs podcast. And on this week's show, you're going to be joined by myself and Tom Cook as usual. And we're going to be discussing about how you can stay focused amongst the noise of social media and negativity around maybe your network and some other people in your life. So how do we remain focused when the world is telling us that it's a shit show?
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Because it's just all day, every day you go into your WhatsApp, you're just hearing bad news all the time. This is wrong, that's wrong.
Yeah.
You're going to suffer, you're going to burn in hell, all of that going on.
It's kind of crazy right now. Now, before we get into this, if you are new to the show, that's great. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Please do feel free to reach out and leave your comments. Let us know what you need help with and how we can help you and support you. But why do we do this podcast? And I'll tell you why. So the Valiant Entrepreneurs podcast has been brought to you by myself and Tom, and it's been brought to you to help you just deal with the day-to-day issues, day-to-day problems that come up in business and arise naturally through business. And we're here to have a laugh, discuss, talk about topical things that are happening in our business, in your business, and other people's businesses, and just be that support for you, and be that sort of voice of understanding and reason in business, just to help. Well, number one, let you know that you are on the right path. As tough as it may get, there is other people that are around to support you and help you. And number two, just call it as it is sometimes. And at the minute, one thing I'm seeing a lot of recently on social media is there's a lot of noise. Everyone's got a hack, everyone's got a system, everyone's got a process, everyone's got a get rich quick, everyone's got this, everyone's got that.
Yeah.
It's very easily, particularly if you're new to business, and to be easily distracted by all of that, and that would then take you off your goal or off your game, because you could be doing whatever you're doing in business for 8 months to 12 months, and then very easily get distracted because there's a new whatchamacallit by whatever, and he's doing this, and suddenly it's the new thing on the block. Like for instance, we are seeing, go back a year, right? All the crypto people were banging on about how crypto, but you notice they've gone quiet now.
Yeah.
Where are they? They're back at the job center. That's the reality. Where are the crypto people right now? They're all, very, very quiet online, aren't they? There's not a lot of crypto stuff going on at the minute.
Don't hear anything.
It's very, very quiet out there. But then now everyone seems to be talking about these new digital assets.
Yep.
Yeah, a couple of years ago it was NFTs, and then now you get the get rich quick money brigade jumping on the digital assets brigade, and then I don't know if you've noticed, but I've noticed a lot of people in my friends groups are now posting screenshots of, hey, I made £600 profit today from a digital asset. But if you notice, number one, it's not withdrawable, and number two, here's the killer: when you post, make sure you're not posting a demo account. You're claiming you're making profit in a demo account. Come on, behave, wake up. Yeah, that happened the other day. I saw it. Yeah, it's quite funny. How embarrassing. Anyway, so
that's right there. That's proof. They don't see. People see that and they don't realize. They don't notice the demo account bit, and they think, "Oh wow, digital assets or something like that, crypto. I should get into that." But actually, they don't actually really know the truth behind it all.
So I saw it pop up and whatever, and I'm just like, okay, cool. And then this person's banging on about making all this profit, but then top right hand corner of the picture says demo account. So they're not making any profit. That's a demo account. That's a practice account. There's no real money involved. It's like, come on, if you're going to talk about making profit, at least be ethical about it. Yeah, but it's very easy to distract people, isn't it?
You go online and you think. It's very easy to start thinking you're doing the wrong thing or you're not doing enough of it or whatever you're doing, and it just pulls your attention, it pulls your focus away from what you're really supposed to be doing, and you can get so lost in social media and confused as well, because there is obviously people out there, no, I've got the winning system, you got to do this, don't do LinkedIn, you got to be doing newsletters, and if you're new to business as well, I mean that.
Overwhelming.
It's a maze you get lost in.
We run various training programs, and we say all of our training programs overwhelm is the thief of execution. Because I believe that when you get overwhelmed, you end up just doing nothing, and you're pulling in all different directions, and you're never going forward. And we talk about this all the time because, you know, I'm guilty of it. You're guilty of it. We're all guilty of being distracted by the noise in the marketplace. Oh, what's that person doing? What's that person doing? What about this marketing strategy? What about this marketing strategy? What about, you know, emails? What about text messages? Oh, should we add WhatsApp into that? Should we add this into that? What about Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, social media, Snapchat, Twitter? It's just noise, right? And you say a lot, stay in your lane, which is a great way to think about this. And it's about keeping focus when the world is trying to distract you. And I know we've got a couple of tips we can give you today to help you remain focused, which we'll get to. But what's the problem that comes from social media? Like, it's primarily a social media thing here, but what's the main problem that comes from just being so active on social media in the sense of like doom scrolling? What's the big problems that come from that?
Because we can see it in people. It's time wasted at the end of the day. Because if you go, like, if you're listening to this or you're watching this, go on your, if you've got a real phone and you've got an iPhone, you'll be able to go into your settings,
screen time,
and you'll be able to see how much time you've spent on social media or different apps. If you've got an Android, what I suggest you do, go find your local Apple store, get yourself a proper phone. Let us know if you're a real phone user in the comments, or one of those wannabe phone users on Android.
So that's the thing, innit? If you've got an Android, get your maps out, put in Apple, go and sort it out.
Get yourself a proper
phone. On
a
serious note, we have this argument with Adam, one of our.
He's Android as well.
Are you an Android? Why is it I just don't get it.
You mentioned just there about staying in your lane. Like that actually, there's a purpose before that. And quick story, my mum told me that. She gave me that lesson because she used to be running at school. She was very into athletics and stuff. And she remembers she was running a race once and she was in first place, and she looked behind her to see where the competition was. And she said because she got distracted and looked behind her, she ended up losing the race. And she said, so Tom, always stay in your lane. It's always important to do that. And you've got to do it for yourself. And that's why I think I love our events, because we're not teaching hacks and gimmicks and quick tips that might last you for the week before they go out of fashion. Because remember, on social media, the algorithms change. Like Instagram, Meta, LinkedIn, these guys own that algorithm and they can change it at any point in time. So what is the point in following a hack or a gimmick that is on these social media channels that's only going to last 7 days or a couple of months? Because then your whole business model is going to change anyway. So then what I was saying is, like, you've got to keep yourself focused. And that's why I love our events, because we teach strategies that are sustainable over 12 months, 2 years, 5 years and beyond. And you can actually build off that.
So really interesting. I've just done that screen time thing. So like if you're on Apple, go into settings, just type in screen time and it comes up. How long, what do you think my daily average social media time is? How long? What would you say? What would you say is normal for a normal person?
Average probably 5-6 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does that say?
32 minutes.
32 minutes. So, and that's over the week.
Yeah.
That's over the week, 32 minutes. I don't know if you can see that, but it's over the week. So 32 minutes average over the week. So 30 minutes a day on social media. That's a healthy amount.
Yeah.
I think it is. And here's the thing, right? You know, it just lets you see that. And there's a reason why I try to stay off social media. I don't go on that often, and like I do go on every day, obviously, but just to see what's going on. But mainly to check messages and things like that. And I flick through, but I get bored very quickly. And my algorithm is basically full of engineering, so lathes, like a good old fashioned lathe, metal lathe. Getting, you know, and I'll sit and watch I'll watch a guy in India. Who's got very few tools, you know, turn down a bit of metal on a lathe, and I'll sit and watch that for like 10 minutes, be fascinated by it. And then, you know, mix that in with all the, you know, the junk and the rubbish that you see on there. You know, don't be spending so long on social media. And it's about I truly believe this, and we teach all of our clients this, like, use tools to prevent you killing yourself on social media in the sense of, and what I mean by that, I mean, like, it's so easy to get distracted by what everyone else is doing or what you think they're doing. Prime example, we talked about this, I made £600 profit in a demo account. Now, if you're not 100% wise, like if you're not completely coherent, all you'll see is that person saying, I made £600 profit. You're then going to buy into whatever they're selling, and it turns out it's not even a real account, right? And you're going to then lose more money, right? Now, the reality is this, stay focused, stay in your lane, understand what it is you're trying to achieve, whatever that may be, and don't be distracted by the nonsense. And a couple of years ago, right, I've got two young girls, right? I've got Yasmin, who's 25, and I've got Isabel, who's 18. And they were very influenced by social media with regards to the latest beauty things and all that sort of stuff. And I remember I saw a video once of all these, there was a thing, wasn't there? All the women want to, have this gym body with the big asses and like all this sort of stuff, yeah? And I remember watching a video once, and I'm trying to remind my children that, that's not normal, right? That isn't normal. What you see online with these girls with these massive like asses, whatever, right? It's not normal. And I remember saying to them that you don't need to be like that because that's not also pretty either, right? It's just not natural beauty. It's fake beauty and it's whatever, right? And I was kind of like trying to guide them down the right way, make sure they don't get distracted. And I saw a video on social media, and it was a guy who was filming some shoots for fitness videos.
Yeah.
Right. And he was like a camera guy. So he was like, and he was just, he was filming it on his phone, just holding his phone down and filming little bits, right? Now you got the fitness influencer who's getting ready to do the shoots. And, as she's getting ready to do the shoots, the dresser or whoever gets her ready in the costume, whatever, stopped her because one of our ass cheeks had dropped.
Yeah.
And these are chicken fillets, basically. They get slid inside her knickers to make her ass look rounder. And it literally, the guy's got it all on film, right? Of he's holding his camera and he's filming it. The dress, the costume lady comes along. She pulls her pants down. She pulls this thing out, puffs it up, puts it back down. So it makes her ass look big. So actually, the woman who's doing it's got a flat ass, but she's making out she's got a big ass for the sake of likes, loves, comments, purchases. Influencing, yeah.
Such a fake
and it's
reality.
Fake. It's so fake.
Can you remember the story about you were on the plane?
Oh yeah. So I was flying to Las Vegas, and I was flying business, genuine business class, flying business. Okay. And I remember I was sat there, and if you've ever flown business on Virgin, there's 4 rows of cabins. So the ones at the side all point out, and the ones down the middle all point back. So they go down like that, right, in a weird shape. And there was like, I don't think 30 or 40 chairs in there, like maybe 4 rows of 10, okay? So 40 chairs, whatever. And maybe not, maybe 8, I don't know, 4 rows of 8, whatever, I can't remember. And I was probably about one of 4 people in business class that day.
Yep.
And, we were flying to Vegas, and the plane took off. And about 10, 15 minutes into the flight, so the seatbelt signs were off and everyone's free to walk around, these 2 young girls came in. And in business class, there's a snack bar area, and it's just full of snacks and drinks. You can just go and literally help yourself: champagne, drinks, crisps, whatever, fruit, whatever. And so there's obviously curtains between us and the normal cabin, and these 2 girls come in, I'd say early to mid-20s came in. They both grabbed the champagne off the bar, and they came in, they sat in one of the business class seats, and then they started doing the photographs, and they started doing the holding up the Louis Vuitton handbag and doing all the photographs and doing Instagram shots, yeah? And obviously very quickly the cabin steward come along and said, look, can I see that you're not meant to be in here? Can you go back to your normal cabin? So they obviously went back to, cattle class back at the back. And here's the thing, they would have been posted on social media.
Yeah.
Everyone's now got the perception that these girls are in their early 20s are actually loaded and running and doing really well, when actually they're flying normal, right? Which is fine. Still paid for a flight, fine, no criticism there, right? But don't give the perception you're doing better than yourself just for the sake of likes, comments, and shares, right? And the problem is, again, that's distraction. So if you're a 25-year-old girl and you see this 25-year-old girl and is putting out this fake perception of what she's doing, that can really demoralize you. And it can really make you think you're not doing enough and I've got to work harder. And again, we've seen it time and time again. And we've seen it in our sector with people that are, promoting various different courses and programs on property. The whole Lamborghini money shot, the whole standing in front of houses, and you find out they're nothing to do with these houses. You find out afterwards, like we know somebody who, would hire a Bentley for the day to take photographs, make out it's his car. And then actually,
the person, what they think they own it, but they don't at all, and they're not paying actually probably that much to hire it for the day.
It'd be £500 or whatever for a photo shoot, so it's fine.
But then in your head, you're like, oh, he owns it. Oh my god.
Well, it's perception, isn't it? So they're using perceptive marketing techniques to get you to buy. Now, I'm not where you sit on this is entirely up to you, but. I don't know. It's just, do you know what I mean?
I've done it. I've been on the other end because it's so easy on social to get into your head when you see other people. And as soon as you're watching other people and you start comparing yourself to them, you do your own personal power, you split that in half. And I had it once where a friend of mine, he had left a year after me from work to go into business to do fitness. And he Archie, if you ever listen to this, like, you were smashing it, my friend. You're doing so well, and you deserve every bit of success that's come your way. And he was flying. I saw him flying in business class. This was a few years ago. I saw him flying in business class, and I got in my head, and I saw it, and it's like, just being transparent, I just felt envy, and I was like, oh my god, he left a year after me, and he's in business class. Oh my god, what am I not doing? What am I missing? Like, why am I not there yet? And then it turns out, like, he posted about it after. He put another post out talking about how he was doing this, like, membership scheme that he'd got in on, and it allows you to collect points, and you can spend those points and get business class flights. So he'd been strategic about it, and he'd done well with that, and it was accessible to a lot of people, and even myself. But I got in my head so quickly, I started making. My perception was totally screwed up in that moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't mean that to take anything away from him at all. He's absolutely smashed it. But that's just, honestly, that's what was in my head.
Again, I've not seen the post, but I can't imagine he was doing what these other people do.
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't suggesting.
No.
Yeah, that's my point. So the point, and that's the good thing about it, right? So the problem is, like, these particular girls, right? They were in there, the shot. You've seen it 100 times, yeah. But it's very deceptive, right? You got to be transparent about these things. And I'm not saying you can't use luxuries and that to promote yourself. I'm not saying you can't do that. But, if you're living in a council house and you drive a Yaris, right?
Who drives a Yaris?
Yeah, if you drive like a Yaris, don't make out you're living in a mansion driving a Lamborghini. Like, come on, it's just bullshit, yeah? And we see it time and time again. The world of... the make money world is full of it. And look, does it attract people? Yeah, it does. Is it the right way to do it? That's entirely up to you, whether you think it's right or wrong. And it depends how you play it, and depends how you position yourself. Point being is, look, there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of distraction out there in the marketplace that could easily take you off your game. I've done it, you've done it, we've all done it. So what can you do to stay focused?
Get rid of your social media.
Well,
not get rid of it, but block it off.
That is one way. Is to just limit your time on social media, and really teach yourself that most of what you see online is a snapshot of a reality. And I saw a post a couple of days ago. I can't remember who it was. It wasn't nobody we know. It's just somebody that I follow on social media, and it was this woman. She said it was a post about Facebook versus reality. So she'd done a couple of the first 3 or 4 images were Facebook. And it was out partying, out having expensive dinners, like glasses, cheers, all that sort of crap, yeah, which is fine. But then reality you know, her at home with no makeup on, her at home crying because she's had a bad day, her at home upset because she's got anxiety that day. Do you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. Like, I'm not saying don't promote yourself when you're feeling good. I'm just saying always understand there's two sides to every story. Always, there's two sides of the coin. There's two sides to every story, and you know, always.
And there's
Like,
always
and just one, sorry,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
just one thing, and like, you know, I'm not a massive fan of social media. I use social media, but I don't really put much personally on social media. So like last year, right? Let's just be brutally real about this. I went on over 30 holidays last year. I barely documented any of them, and I probably should have, because the reality is, you know, that is something that most people want to do. They want to be able to travel and et cetera, et cetera. But the reality is, you know, I might have had all these holidays, but guess what? I was bored. Guess what? You know, personally, I'm not entirely where I want to be in my life right now from a happiness point of view and from a, you know, have I achieved what I want to achieve? So, you know, whilst I can do all these nice things, you know, am I really all the way there to make out, hey, yeah, I'm living this wonderful life? No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm going to be brutally honest about that, because, you know, business brings stress, it brings problems, it brings issue. Every aspect of business stress is stressful. Yeah. And, you know, you just don't believe everything. Don't believe you're seeing the whole picture every time you see anything. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, and you can't run away from doing the work. So if you are if you're not where you want to be and you're not getting the success you want, have a look at how much time consuming social media, consuming these things. Because if you're going to spend all your time there to get to the level that you want, there is a, I don't know, call it an action tax. You've got to pay an action. You've got to put the work in to get there.
Yeah,
It's not going to
100%.
happen otherwise.
All right, there's a tool called Opal.
I
Opal.
always get confused with the other one, Opus.
Yeah, same.
Opal is the one.
Yeah, Opal.
OPAL.
Yeah, and this is a tool that you can download on. I know definitely on an
On a
Apple,
normal phone.
but on an Android, I don't know. I think you just have to switch it off. I don't know.
Put it in the bin.
Put it in the bin. Right, but on an Apple, you can have this tool called Opal, and it literally you set the times and it turns off your social media.
Yep.
And it will not give you access. You can't override it.
Yep.
You can't do anything. So set yourself limits. And I'm not saying don't enjoy social media. If you enjoy social media, love it, crack on. I'm just saying enjoy it in moderation, and try to remain focused on what you're going to do. Now, I've just showed you my phone. My average daily on social media is 35 minutes. Do you remember we done this at an event once, and we asked everybody to go onto their phones, work out their screen times, and tell us. And, you know, we had people coming back at 6 hours. And I'm like, yeah, but you're broke. I says, you're not getting results, and you keep telling me you haven't got any time. You're spending 6 hours on social media.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
That's when they
If
go, I
you're
don't have
broke-
any time.
If you're broke, you shouldn't be on social media.
Yeah.
If you're broke, this phone should only be in your hand if it's making you money or getting you contacts or building your life out. Shouldn't be in your hand for any other reason, right? You ain't got time to be broke, right? So get on with it and make shit happen. Cut the distraction, cut the noise, cut the overwhelm. And it's like all this noise and distraction leads to overwhelm. And it leads to distraction, and it's just that is the thief that's going to take everything away from you, and you know it just is.
Either you can monetize social media, or social media is going to monetize you. It's as simple as that. Which side of the line do you want to be on?
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So drop us a comment. Tell us what's your social media addiction like? What's it causing problems with you in your life? What do you do to overcome it? What do you do to stay focused? For me, staying focused is I have times when I'm good at it and times when I'm bad at it. But I think having a clear set of goals and a clear set of targets is really good for keeping focus. And having a bigger purpose, a bigger reason for why you're doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about yourself?
Just to that's a really good point. Actually, I like that. You got to have a bigger purpose, because that's going to keep. Because we're all human. We all get distracted by things, and we all lose our focus at times. But then, if you've always got that big goal and that big purpose, it's going to pull you towards that, and you're never going to be able to forget it.
Yeah.
So I agree with that. That's a good one.
All right. Listen, what do you do to stay focused? This whole episode has been about remaining focused without the noise, without the distraction. One thing, quick thing before we get out of here. Noise and distraction doesn't just come from social media. Like obviously, there's a lot of noise and distraction in the day-to-day world from people in your network, like your family, your friends. How do you deal with that side of things if you've got people around you that are not like 100% on your journey?
Keep listening to the Valiant Entrepreneurs podcast.
Yeah.
And that's true, because if you're surrounded by negative people, you need to plug into something more positive. You need to plug into something that is going to give your mind something good to feed off of. So when you're traveling out on the train or driving, listen to this podcast. Listen to a book on Audible.
Do you know? I the other day, right? I was driving and I thought, oh, I'm going to put the radio on. I literally almost wanted to drive my car into a wall.
It's really crap, isn't it?
I couldn't believe how shit it is.
Yeah.
Like the normal radio, this was like, I can't even remember the channel, but it was just shit,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, I don't get it. And then I got to a hotel and the Wi-Fi was really shit. I was down in Yeovil, right?
Wild ends, Yeovil.
Yeah, I was down
Pass my
there
driving test,
and I was in my hotel room and I wanted to watch a bit of like Netflix or Amazon or something, but I had no Wi-Fi. So I had to put the local TV on and the local channels. And honestly, it was all like BBC and local and all that sort of stuff. And I was getting depressed just watching it because it's so negative and it's all bad news, isn't it? It's just all bad news and people moaning and complaining and just talking about mind-numbingly crap stuff. And I just think
That's what like people are naturally drawn to. So you got to like get away from that.
you've got to break away from that because that would easily take you off focus easily.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, hope you found this useful. Any final thoughts?
No, just keep feeding mind with positive stuff. Like, and I'm not trying to be like happy woo woo, but just put some good stuff into your head and listen to some good stuff because it does help in the long term.
Yeah, I agree with you. I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you. So yeah, just listen to some positive stuff, and we'll see you on the next time. Like Valiant Entrepreneurs podcast is positive stuff. So listen to that, and we'll see you next time.
Take care. Thanks, guys.